Let me ask a question. Do you think that I, as a Black same-gender-loving man, should I have the same right to marriage protections as you do?
Yes. Are you talking to me?
No, I'm not talking to you, Tiffany. I'm talking to.
I say yes.
I know.
Yes.
I know.
I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to him. You know who I'm talking to.
I'm not going to debate to get into that conversation.
It's not a debate.
But I do have another interview I have to go to. I really do have another interview that I'm already.
The answer is no. So
I'm
here's
already
the thing.
5 minutes over.
Go. All right,
thank you, Diante. Thank you for joining us. Yeah. Everybody.
Bye,
and I want to make it explicit for folks who are not sure why I got this smoke that Tiffany name she had when we started this conversation. What I know as a Black person who lived under the Trump administration is I don't want that trauma. I don't want the trauma. I experienced it. I'm in therapy still to this day, reconciling it, and I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to ask whether or not my fiance and I, a man who I love, who anchors me, who allows me to show up and exist on purpose, can exist safely. I don't want to have these conversations that radical Republicans feel are just policy fodder. This is actually my life. This is actually my life. And so in a world where principal position, I get it. We got to push. The three of us are radical by definition. We talked about this earlier. They're different. Progressive is not a radical. They're not synonyms. Words matter. This is why Toni Morrison helped us to appreciate the importance of words. They get onto things, into us. The three of us are radical. We believe that all of us should be free. But that nigga believes that I don't get to take up oxygen in the way that I exist. And we can't have a conversation about that. That's my energy for Trump and everybody who is associated with MAGA. And my only issue is this. My only issue is this, and I will stop and I will practice deference in this moment. We as a group of principled radical people do not have the same energy for that party. We don't have the same demands. If he doesn't say this about Gaza, I won't vote for him. We only have the energy for our vice president, and it incensves me. It is white supremacy in the worst forms of its manifestation. That we are critical. If she don't say this about Gaza, if she don't do this about this, if she don't, but also not appreciating if she flips on this position, she's going to be offered up as vulnerable to people that say politicians can't do that. In a world where she's also not a white man, she's a biracial woman who is dealing with all that comes with white supremacy. So I'm saying to everybody, you all know how I'm coming and how I enter the arena. I want all of us to get free. And what I know is I don't agree with Kamala Harris on every position. I work for Barack Hussein Obama and Michelle Yvonne Robinson Obama. I don't agree with every position that they took. That's not where I am. But if y'all want to label me whatever, you can label me that. I'm about Black people getting free and thriving. And what I know with every fiber of my being is I can debate and discuss this with Kamala Harris, a Madam Vice President Harris administration. And Trump wants me dead. And so to that grifter, that conservative, that nigga, fuck you and your principled positions, period, full fucking stop. Don't invite me to have conversations with these grifters again, Mark. I love you, but I will not do it.
So I don't know if he's a grifter or not. Let me say that first. He could just be wrong. No, he
just said when I asked him a direct question, he didn't want to debate. It wasn't a debate. It was a yes or no question.
No, he definitely avoided that. He definitely avoided your question.
He definitely avoided it. He could have said yes or no.
Black person, do you believe that I should have entitlement to the same rights that you vociferously defend? Otherwise, why you're a Republican? But if you can't answer that question for me, I know where you stand. We don't.
I definitely know where you stand.
We don't have to discuss it.
I mean, me and Mark answered the question. You wasn't even talking to us, so
yeah, no. I guess the way I'm thinking about it, there might be another way to think about what you're talking about, David, not from Diante's perspective, right? Diante represents a party that does not want us to get free. Whatever we is, right? Any we that I'm a part of, any we that anybody on this call is a part of, they ain't trying to get free. Whether it's women, whether it's black folk, whether it's queer folk, whether it's Kappas, it don't matter. Like they don't want none of them.
Disabilities was named in the chat earlier. Yep.
They don't want none of them free, right? Not in any substance. There's no commitment to it. But as somebody in the chat said, you know, there's also a way that radical, if we're talking about radical transformation, getting to the root of this, changing the way systems operate, changing the systems themselves, no mainstream corporate political candidate is going to do that. And I think maybe the reason why we don't apply the same pressure to Trump as we do Kamala Harris is because we don't have an expectation of Donald Trump, right? I know Donald Trump ain't gonna get us free, but too often when we have an option of a radical candidate and a status quo liberal candidate, the liberal candidate is positioned to us as the only logical or reasonable path that we can get free. And they sometimes overstate, or it's overstated for them what they're going to do for us. So the reason why I want to know where she stands on Gaza is because I want the genocide to end. I know Trump won't end it, but it seems like Kamala won't either. And so if I get to ask the right questions 6 months ago or a year ago or 2 years ago, maybe we don't have Kamala. Maybe we have somebody else.
All of that is right. But here's what I struggle with, which is in this moment, literally in this moment where we watch AIPAC take out Cori Bush,
Jamal Bowman.
Yeah, I said that.
Mondare, but before that, one of the first two Black queer candidates who was in the House of Representatives. Name a viable candidate who has taken that position who is still in office. I'll wait.
I said that already.
Yeah. Would you say that about gay marriage?
What I say? What about gay marriage?
If 10 years ago you were pushing for there was a moment where
here's what you, let me name it. I will play the game. I will jump in the double dutch ropes and let me just name.
No, but I want the audience to hear my question.
10 years ago is different. 10 years ago is different. 10 years ago is different.
Listen to the question, because the audience, even if you know what I'm going to say, the audience doesn't. Right? What I'm saying is that there was a moment where supporting gay marriage or marriage equality was a loser. Nobody had ever run for office on that position and won. And if someone had said at that moment, we can't pick that issue. No one has a good position on that and win, so we can't. That is off the table as a reasonable, fair issue. I think you would have said we got to start somewhere. So I'm saying, why can't we take that same energy to Gaza?
I don't. Here's the thing. I want to meet in the middle, which is where Madiba left us, which is Gaza and South Africa. So again, we are the same people on this issue. But what I know is Kamala Harris is in a very different position than Donald Trump. So what I don't begrudge is people who are saying, let's push her as much as we can. But in this moment, what I ask myself as a rational, critical thinking being is, will I actually know where she is as a person versus how she's navigating this political system that she's in? Those are two very separate things. And what I then backed myself into, again, critical thinking. The nigga tried it earlier. I know he's watching, although he said he had to go. But what I think about as a student of history is name a leader of a country that has taken this radical position who's in office now. It doesn't exist.
Wait, and I also want to ask the question to brainstorm, and this is for the listeners too. I have been meditating on this for a minute. We have a biracial, we have a Black woman running for president, which is unprecedented in this moment, against a rapist, narcissist, criminal, liar, all the things. While she is also currently working for Joe Biden, who has said out loud publicly that he is a Zionist and that he is a capitalist, and he will not change his position on that. And I wonder, and this is, you know, I don't know if we'll ever know, but I wonder how much, to your point, David, about her personally versus her running for president, how much of what she gave us tonight is being limited by not only her. Mark, I'm asking the question.
I'm thinking. This is my thinking face, not my disagreeing face.
Okay. By her being a Black woman running currently as the vice president, working for a white capitalist Zionist, while also trying to keep the Democratic Party happy, which is a bunch of white people who didn't want to see Joe Biden leave in the first place. At the same time, who didn't want to see Joe Biden in the same place. Now, no. That is not me excusing her for her answers tonight, because I am unapologetically right now and yesterday free Palestine. Period. Full stop. Right?
Same.
I've been 3
but
times.
Here's the thing.
I don't know how.
All of us
I don't speak Arabic like Mark, but I have been 3 times, and I've led a delegation there myself. And I've seen it for myself, the violence that is happening in Palestine, and I wanted to stop.
Mark more than both of us, and me less than you, but all of us understand, again, the principle of Madiba. If Palestine is not free, South Africa can't be free. And anybody 100%. Who knows me knows that my value is all of us need to get free.
And so my question then is, I don't think that she can win. I don't think that she can win. Shout out to Fannie Lou Hamer. I don't think that she can even win. I don't even think she can be a candidate in this moment if she comes out, tries to be any more radical, or even tries to pretend like she is meeting with radical people because of who she works for currently and because of the party that she serves. But again, Mark,
and this is what vexes me. This is what vexes me is that
people. Hold on, David. Hold on. People who are radical in this movement, whether it's the 3 of us or whether it's our friends or whether it's people in organizing spaces that are literally putting their lives on the line to push for this election to be more than what it has ever been in the past, and for us to have a stronger and wider and bigger and deeper agenda. Those people that I have a list of names, but I don't want to miss anybody, so I won't waste time doing it. It's for us to say seriously, right? Can we win a radical movement in Pennsylvania, in Arizona, in Michigan, in Florida, in these rural counties? I just drove from Atlanta to Los Angeles, and the entire route I saw Donald Trump signs, right? Those folks are not talking about us. They're not talking about Palestine. They're not talking about abortion. They're not talking about student loan debt. And so when you talk about this calculation, Mark, I'm bringing it back to that moment, because I don't even think that she has the flexibility and the space to be the president that she could be, or that she might want to be, considering all of those factors. I don't think she's great.
This is also the issue.
Here's what I would say to that, and then David, jump back on it. I'm okay. I agree with your analysis that the candidate that I would
really
want to nominate or elect, my person will not win a general election right now in 2024.
Mine neither.
A person with Kamala Harris's policy positions, or Barack Obama's or Joe Biden's policy positions when they won, would not have won 30 years prior. Jesse Jackson's policy positions in 84 and 88 wouldn't win now, right? Even though he led the way. My point being, I don't have any illusions about what a winning policy agenda can look like. What I don't want to do, though, and we did this with Obama too, is assign to Kamala Harris a kind of radical possibility in her politics. Let me put it differently. I don't want to make assumptions about her politics or be overly generous with what her politics can be against all evidence to the contrary. I'm
not asking you to do that. What I am asking you to do is for us to have an imagination about what we can do to push her. I just want to believe that maybe there's a way that we can have a meeting throughout the rest of her candidacy, right? So we're saying the same thing. Sure. I'm not trying to create her to be somebody that we don't think she is or that she hasn't presented to us, but to say that there is somebody maybe that we might be able to push, and that there is room for us in our politics to be at the end of that goalpost and not be where she's at.
CC said, I need this answer, so I'm tossing my coins in. How is genocide a singular issue, Dr. Zeus? I think they're saying Zeus is in like Zeus TV. I'm sure that's for David Johns.
I'm now Lemuel Plummer. I've become Lemuel. Is that what it's?
You think genocide is a singular issue, David? Answer the question.
Well, in fairness, what you said was you can't afford to be a
singular issue, so I'm not answering that question.
Well, but I'll phrase it differently, because I know what they're asking you. There was a moment where you said you can't afford to be a single issue voter, and they're saying right, and they're saying that Gaza is not a single issue because genocide is brought. They're saying the genocide in Gaza makes it not a singular issue. That's what they're saying to you.
The genocide in Gaza makes it not a singular issue.
Or better yet, how is Gaza? Why do you see Gaza as a singular issue? I would imagine what they're saying is that Gaza happens. Gaza is bound up in, like you said in the Medieval print, that it's connected not just in an abstract way, but there's direct connections between what's happening in Congo or Gaza or Sudan and Israel, what's happening in the United States, our funding, our domestic spending, our foreign, that all this stuff is bound up. Is it really a singular issue, or why do you see it that way? That's what CC is asking you. And she paid $5 for that question. So
CC, I appreciate the question. Let me be clear that Black people don't have the luxury of being single issue voters. And that's not a Davidism. It's I can't think of the member of the Congressional Black Caucus who wrote a book about this actually being a thing. I want to attribute this to him. And what I know is that we don't have this luxury. What I know as a Black, same-gender loving man is that I can't pick a single issue to hang my hat on, which is why I have this energy that I have in this moment. And so what I can appreciate is that I'm sure there are people who don't know me, how I enter the arena, who might have brought their issues to my commentary and that landed in the way that I didn't intend for it to. And I would hope that you would engage with me so that we could build and you could appreciate the way that I have always shown up, because I'm not new to this. I'm true to this. Period.
David, look, I'm gonna ask a provocative question. If you're not a single issue voter, right, and I believe you, what do you do if Kamala Harris had the exact same policy position she had on every issue, except she thinks that being gay is a sin and gay people should not be allowed to be married or have the same rights?
Why would you do that, Mark?
Well, here's the thing. Thankfully, here's the thing. I appreciate the contrarianism of it all.
No, thankfully, right? What I'm getting at is
no, words matter. But no, in a world where, like, again, devil's advocate, the devil doesn't need an advocate. Yeah. What I know is that she's not there. Kamala Harris, as the governor, the lieutenant governor, as the AD, whatever the position was, this is when I'm like, I need to take a nap.
Attorney General.
As Attorney General, she officiated top cop, Black cop, whatever people want to say. She officiated same-sex marriages. And then the state of California, which I am from, overturned those officiations. So she was supporting same-sex marriage before it was the law of the land. And so while we're in this space, my point is there are some while we're in this space, here's what I want to say. While we're criticizing what Kamala could or could not do, because what I know is she supports me as a same-gender loving man who is proposed to my fiance, who allows me to show up in spaces like this when I'm like, I should have just dropped and dealt with the consequences of it. In 2015, Trump launched a presidential campaign by referring to Mexican immigrants as racist, rapists, and murderers because the stakes are clear. We have lived through a Trump.
Tiffany, I know you got to run. We all got to run. I'm gonna give Tiffany the last word. Whatever, Tiffany, you have.
Wow. Okay. Wow. Thank you, gentlemen. Well, everybody has to vote, and this is not an election that has been determined. We have an option of voting along our values, and I am a person who is going to encourage everybody here to be consistent and to be authentic and to be loyal to their values while also keeping community first, keeping themselves and community first. As we do that, there are going to be people who are going to be on all sides of the aisle and people who don't want to vote. And David might disagree with me, but there are going to be people who don't want to vote. And if they don't want to vote, don't let them vote. Because if they don't agree that this is along with that, you don't agree with that? Okay, you do agree with that. Great. If there are 55 days left, I thought there was 56, but whatever. So if there are people who don't want to vote, I'm going to end.
Time zone.
You're right. 55 time zone. Eastern. You're right. I'm in the Eastern. I'm in Atlanta. And if the people don't want to vote, then let them go ahead. But we always need people who are going to push the pedestal, who are going to push the barometer, so that people like us, people like Kamala Harris, not Donald Trump because he's not going to move, can have something that they can deter to. So that's the audience in the background.